Hello, my name is Mandolin Royal, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about the Muscovy Ducks that I added to our flock last November when I was up at the Ohio Nationals APA show. I was a woman on a mission on that day, so while I was doing the meet and greet with the chicken people, I was also cruising the sale barn specifically looking for Muscovy duck, some good ones. Now, these guys are Cox and Paget lines, and I purchased from two different flocks, one from Ohio and one from Wisconsin. And that's a cool thing about those big national shows, is it brings a lot of poultry people together, and you can find some stuff that may not be locally available for you to go ahead and acquire and bring home. So where I normally keep them is a parked tractor that we wrapped in plastic for winter. I'll take a walk down there and show you that. But they got through winter absolutely just fine. Now, since we are in southwestern Ohio, that means we're in zone 6, and none of our little winter extremes were too much for these guys. I just had to do my job of keeping fresh water flowing and keep some feed going too, because they didn't have the forage then that they have now. Now, the reason I added these ducks is because I'm a closeted duck nut, but there's some things about ducks that I don't necessarily like, such as the noise level of some of the mallard-derived varieties, that super loud quack quacking. I can kind of do without that. The eggs, I really enjoy them for baking, but I don't like the texture of them in an omelet. Now, the meats, it's a little on the greasy side, but it's pretty good. Now, several years ago, we had some geese, and I liked the adult geese, but some of the offspring were actually pretty terrible, and they tried to eat me, and we ended up inviting several of them to dinner, and the meat was absolutely incredible. And I heard that the Muscovy ducks are more like goose than duck. So after everything I've learned, it prompted me to try the Muscovy on for size to see if they're the best option between duck, between goose, to do what I need them to do, which is pretty much just for their meat. Usually I have eggs coming out of my eyeballs from the chickens, and then we have turkeys for our holiday meals. We don't raise that many turkeys. I only keep a small group. And so a little small group of ducks is all we would need. Now, the area I have them in now, it's a old farrowing spot for a pig. And the older female, she's 3 years old. She'll be 4 this year. She's back in there figuring out if she likes it as a nesting spot. Because I noticed today when she came out, she was a duck on a mission, and she tried to climb behind the siding over there where the pigs got a little destructive. And she was giving all the indications of being ready to nest. So I opened up the gate into this area, and she's been in here all day with the support of her silver male. And I did end up with my favorite color. There are 4 silvers and 2 blues. The only one I'm missing is black from that breeding dynamic. I'm not sure how this flock is going to shape up and evolve over time, but eventually I do want to figure out a little dose of black in here as well. But I'm most anxious to see her start laying, because she's going to do all the work herself. I'm not going to have to be involved. They can do up to about 120 eggs a year, and they can hatch their own clutches up to 3 batches a year. So they're native to South America, which means places like Florida, Texas, some of those coastal regions, they can be an invasive species. But up here in Ohio, they're domestic. They're not going to go escape and do their own thing and take over the environment. And I did have them in a netted, covered run for over 4 months. And so far, none of the females have shown a desire to fly. We'll see if that holds true over the course of the season, if I'm going to have to be catching them and clipping wings. But so far, they've stayed on the ground for me. They walk around, do their duck thing very, very quietly. I love them already. And I wish they were friendlier, which I'm making a lot of progress. They don't mind me hanging out with them today, and I've been escorting them around for a couple of days now that we have improved forage. So the rest of their space... Oh, this is the other backup male. He's younger than the other. And I'll tell you what, these guys seem smart for ducks. There's a intelligence here that I was not anticipating. But just like a duck, they are naturally suspicious. I get a whole bunch of side-eye from them. But for as unconfrontational and as distanced as they want to be from me, I really don't mind having them around. So they also get all of this grassy area in there that has a heck of a wet spot that'll puddle up. And we've been getting a lot of rain recently, so they go down there and they play in that water. And then that plastic wrapped tractor that we parked and fenced around, that's where we keep them secure overnight. And I created a little chute down there that I'll show you later, where I can open up the kennel gate and walk them into this beautiful forage-filled area, because the bulk of their diet, if they had a choice, is going to be bugs and grass. They really don't care about feed if they have more natural options, which is a big check mark in the pro list. Listen to this interaction. You can barely hear it. Now the boys, they'll get up towards 15 pounds. They should be at least a minimum of 10 pounds. The girls, they're going to be half the size of the males, and that is evident here. Mr. Blue, I call him Big Blue because he is actually really big. I wish I had a better scale comparison than those cinder blocks behind him, but he's got to be double the size of a cinder block for his overall mass. And one of the meat benefits to these guys is that they're very long of body, and that makes for more breast meat, and the breast meat is the absolute best part. They're also a bit less greasy than the more typical mallard-derived ducks, because I don't know if you know this or not, but most domestic ducks are derived from mallards, and that's why they all kind of act the same, sound the same with the quack-quacks, because they all stem off of the same basic family tree. But these guys are a lot more goose-like, especially in their grazing and especially in their meat quality. So my hope with these guys is Big Mama back there will show the younger 3 females a bit about life, how to go about things. And she really did march herself into that little hidey hole, and she's been sitting there for a while because they do not lay out in the open. They want to go hide. She investigated the base of the tree right there to see if there was a hole she can get into there. And she checked out this area earlier when I opened that gate up, and then she came back to it. So I'm hoping she likes my idea. And we're gonna box this in, make it more secure, and kind of call it the duck hut broody pen, so that when they're feeling like they want to nest, they can come in here and do that, and then we can keep them safe and secure. And when I come out and I start counting and I realize we have too many, then it's time for dinner. And the growth rate on the males is really fast. I'm talking like 12 weeks. And if they're gonna free feed themselves from mostly forage, that means those 12 weeks that they're growing out, they're gonna need very little feed and very little help from me to see that through. So that's pretty exciting. So far, after going through winter with them first, I really like them. And now we're into the fun part of the season where we get all of our rain and all of our mud puddles, and they can go do what ducks do quietly and prolifically. So we just have a couple more adaptations to make to have the right setup for them, because I've done ducks before. I've had Khaki Campbell, I've had Saxony, which were my historical favorite, Swedish ducks, Welsh Harlequin, pretty much all the typical types. I've tried them, and I never had the right setup to make it last and make it stick. And I think with how these guys are known to be, how they've been for me, and then once we do the rest of our adaptations for them, I think these will stick, and I think these will be my favorite kind of duck. And I'm just gonna forgive those funky looking red caruncles that the boys get on their face. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I don't know that I care for the look, but with all the other benefits, I think they check enough boxes to be the right duck for us. So I'll keep you updated as we get through the season and as we see how they are, how they produce, and get down to those table results from offspring of these. It's going to be a pretty good time, a couple of good meals, and I'll let you know how it goes. So more on this later. I missed it when the older male was walking up to the younger male, but the younger male immediately stood up and yielded space to let the big silver guy come in and sit down. And there was no drama, there was no fighting, just very chill. And this is breeding season. This makes me appreciate them even more, because if he's gonna assume that role and then he's gonna be fair and nice about it, and the younger male knows exactly what to do, then I don't see any reason so far why they can't stay together. And they seem to have like a really natural sort of relationship and how they go about the order of the flock. Like when I herd them out and I herd them into the channel to come into the bigger area, it's the younger male that leads it. He's always first. And then 2 or 3 females behind him, and then the older male, and then the straggler females behind him. It's almost like they travel like a wolf pack travels, where the one that knows something goes first, and then the middle of the pack, and then the followers. It was really neat. I'm sorry I missed how that older male walked up to this one, but here they are, just sitting in companionable solitude, away from the girls who were increasingly checking out the hidey hole. This is way different behavior than what I'm used to in my other birds. This is neat to watch. Well, now the older male is going back to check. I'm pretty sure he's going to reserve the breeding rights to himself, unless Big Blue can sneak a little side action. These are neat. They are also recognized in the APA standard, and there is a breed standard for them. And that breed standard describes how much they should weigh, kind of loosely what their dimensions should be, and how the colors should be. I believe there's 4 recognized colors, and I've got one of them. Blues are APA recognized, and I'll get a percentage of blue and silver. I'm not sure that I'll see any blacks. But I have a friend that has the same line that has a really nice black male, and another friend that also has really nice black ones. So I'll probably expand into that third color eventually after I see what these guys do. So far, I'm really liking these. Everybody was right. Every time I gave up on ducks, people were like, get Muscovy. So here we are doing that. So here's the lined tractor, and as temperatures climb, we're going to pull that plastic off so it's back to screen. But it has a door we can lock securely. Everything's hardware cloth, and this is where the ducks spend the night. But as you can see, based on the mud and the very sparse greenery, they've been doing a great job of keeping it too well trimmed. So that let me know that it was absolutely time to get them out into the fodder that they cannot reach, and to create this channel of access. That way it's pretty easy to herd them back in at night, because they are pretty well convinced they can sleep out here in the deeper grass, and they're pretty sure they don't need me at all. But for their own good, we have a routine, and they actually herd pretty easily. They're still hanging up by the hidey hole, but they're on their way out. Are you coming out, ducks? Or did I just scare you off the idea? I'm sorry. You can come on. Come on, ducks. You hear the male kind of raspy hissing. That's the extent of the noise. The girls hardly say a word. The neighborhood motorcycles are louder. But yeah, so far I'm really liking these, and I hope it goes as planned. Which, as you know, that's a rare thing, that the plans actually come to fruition exactly the way you thought them out. But so far, these might be the right ducks, and we might be in the right situation to do them some justice and see it through. We'll see. I'm excited for her to start laying and teaching the younger females how to go about it all, and then brooding a big old pile of baby ducklings, hopefully soon. Alright, back to work. More on this later. Feel free to like and subscribe as we go along through this next grow season. P.S. It seems if I tell them I don't want to mess with them, I just want to be around them, they don't take off. They just kind of let me be around. And that's progress. I need to figure out what their favorite treat is. That'll probably help a lot. Alright, back at it. I also want to show you the progress I've made on socialization. Because I did have to kind of walk over them a little bit to get out of the pen. And I'm going to go back to the spot I was sitting in. All of them are out napping. And I didn't get these guys until after 8 weeks. And then the older pair, which is this male and that female over there, they were years old. So I'm just gonna walk back in here and go back to where I was. And sit back down. There's the typical side eye of suspicion. Big Blue didn't even bother to stand up. And the older pair, well, they're so cute. Well, this has been a fun day hanging out with them. 70-some degrees, sunny, breezy, so much greenery and fresh growth. and a fresh flock of birds to get to know and learn all about. I like these a lot, actually. So I will definitely keep you posted of these funky, funny looking, useful lawn mowing birds. Because that's the one thing I liked a lot about geese, was their ability to mow. And apparently these guys will do the same thing. I'm probably not going to get back at it. I'm probably going to sit right here with these guys. More on this later.